Welcome to another episode of the Bobby Experience. So, I don't normally cover things that are morbid on this channel, but this kind of got my attention. I thought I'd one of those few moments where I'd actually have this particular topic. This came in the news today about a Brazilian police detained a woman suspected of taking a dead man to withdraw a bank loan. It was her deceased uncle. You know, when I first read and heard about this, I thought what probably maybe a quarter or half of us was thinking about Weekend at Bernie's. It also even had a sequel too, and they make this concept. They made the concept hilarious with the propping up a corpse and making it seem like it's alive. But when done in real life, like this particular story, it's morbid and it's considered disgusting and offensive. And because it made the news and it's got people's attention, including mine, I thought I'd talk about it here. So I thought I would just read the article here off the website here. So it said police in Brazil have detained a woman suspected of wheeling a dead man who she said was her uncle to a bank to withdraw a four-figure loan. Footage of the woman's encounter with the bank has sparked a nationwide discussion in Brazil after going viral on social media. It appears to show the woman at the counter of a Rio De Janeiro branch of, hope I pronounced this right, Itaú Bank, propping up the head of an elderly man in a wheelchair and trying to get his hand to clasp a pen. According to police, she was attempting to take a loan equivalent to $3,000, which had already been approved by the bank, but still needed the elderly man's sign-off. But the elderly man in the video, filmed by a bank attendant, remains unresponsive. His arm is limp and his head keeps falling back as she talks to him. "Uncle, are you listening?" she asks him. "You need to sign. If you don't sign, there's no way I can't sign for you. It has to be you. What I can do, I do." And she goes on and says, "Sign it so you don't have to give me any more headaches having to go to the registry office. I can't take it anymore," the woman continues. At that point, one of the bank attendants say, "I think he isn't feeling well." And a second attendant agrees. So the bank staff, they call the police and she gets arrested. Now, something I want to say is that, you know, whoever this woman is doesn't really value the sanctity of life. And she was only thinking about something about getting that money and not thinking of, or mourning her uncle whatsoever. Again, it's I can see how like in a fictional circumstance it could be comedic, because I so much think of like what we're talking about, Weekend at Bernie's, and how that character looked with the corpse being made out to be like that it's alive, like those two guys trying to doing everything they can to make it seem like he's still alive. But when people do this, it's unsettling, and it's not the only time that it's happened too. Where I've read some other stories that are being brought to light that have where this occurred before, where some squatter, just an example, like a squatter used a person's home where the homeowner was deceased, and eventually threw his body in the ocean, and in the meantime was just taking advantage of his home. And some other stories too, where Yeah, where some family will pretend like their relative is still alive, just to still continue to get their pension. But this is somewhat, I wouldn't say common, but it's not the first time that this kind of thing's been going on, where people pretend that corpses, the try to make it out this person's still alive with their propping up their corpse. Now, what I want to know is that maybe it's because like they was just her supposed uncle is recently deceased, that maybe there wasn't too much of an odor, but that was one of the first things I thought too, other than the Weekend at Bernie's movies. Also, I thought about the odor, the smell of when someone dies, of how their corpse emits that, it's a stench, because your body's no longer having its organs oxygenated, and everything is decaying and decomposing, and the smell would kick in. So I thought that would have like tipped him off, but he may have just died very, very recent, and probably to put some kind of maybe she put some perfume on him, be able to cover up the scent. But I'm thinking, if not, that it must have stunk to bring him in. And of course, no, I don't mean that to be dishonor who this person was, but simply speaking from a perspective of knowing how simple knowledge of knowing how a corpse could be right after recently dying. Well, this is Bobby with the Bobby Experience. I hope not to hear anything morbid like this anytime soon, but I know stories like this can come out. Hope you have a better week than this woman, this story. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.